Two, three. Hello, folks. We're live, and we are here. It's Wendy with New Bern Now, and I'm here with Officer Ryan Biggerstaff with North Carolina Wildlife Resources Commission. Hello, Officer Biggerstaff. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing today, Miss Wendy?
You good? You look great. And
Oh, well, thank you, thank you.
so, hey, how's it going?
Good, good. Busy getting ready for the upcoming boating season and making sure everything's squared away and trying to make sure everybody's safe. How about you?
Doing pretty good. Ready for the weekend.
For
Um,
sure, for sure.
I see you're working and keeping our waterways and forests, land secure, safe, and that's what you're here to talk to us about today. So on the road, on the water, don't drink and drive. Campaign is coming up next
Mhm.
weekend, not this weekend, next weekend, right?
Yes, ma'am, that's correct. So, on the road, on the water is an awareness campaign. It's put on by us, North Carolina Highway Patrol, and Mothers Against Drunk Driving, really to keep people to allow people to realize this is a completely preventable crime. Um, whether you're on the boat on the water or you're driving down the roadway, you know, find a sober operator or driver. There's no need to consume impairing substances and then get behind a wheel.
Yeah, that's not a good idea.
No, absolutely not. It is not. It's not just a danger for the individual that chooses to partake in a substance, but it's also a danger for everyone else around them. Um,
Right. So
just
I'm
pardon me.
sorry. You go ahead.
Just several days ago in Georgia, there was a fatality on the waterways where an individual chose to consume, from my understanding, what I know now, consume alcoholic beverages and operate a vessel. Those are pointless lives lost. There is no need to put anyone in that type of danger.
Yes. But there, I mean, you can still have a great time and as long as you have
Absolutely. Yep.
a, a
Yep.
driver and that's sober.
Yep. Absolutely. And that's what we tell everyone is, we've got well, we've got the three big holidays. Okay. Memorial Day, the 4th of July, and Labor Day. Find a sober operator every weekend, every time you're out on the water, should you choose, but especially these weekends. Um, you might have a friend and, y'all take turns or whatever, you know, however you wish to do it. Just finding a sober vessel operator, ensuring that everyone has on a properly fitted life jacket, things like that. That's what we're out here to I guess you could say uh, to teach and encourage and things like that.
So, do you have any safety tips for boaters that or people that had just say they're going to a shop to just rent a canoe or kayak for the weekend or rent a watercraft and they've never been on the water or not in this area?
Yes, ma'am, absolutely. So first things first, the first and foremost thing would be make sure you have a proper life jacket, a proper personal flotation device, and wear it. Just because we have a life jacket that fits on the vessel doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to save our lives if it's not worn. Vast majority of boating fatalities, they did not have on a life jacket. And it's bad to Monday morning quarterback, but really a lot of those people would possibly still be with us if they did have a flotation device on. So first and foremost, make sure you have your life jacket. If you're going out somewhere that you're unfamiliar with on the waterways, it might not hurt to find somebody to go with you that is familiar. Not necessarily somebody that went there once 10 years ago, but somebody that's local or spends a little time down there. Um, if if you are unable to find someone like that, Go talk to your local marinas, see what kind of hazards are in the waterways, see if you can't find a chart, things like that. Just because we might have a display or navigation on our vessel, that doesn't necessarily mean that it might not be a little bit off, or there may be a tree that's floating down the waterway, different things like that. So we've definitely got to pay attention, put ourselves in the best possible chance to succeed. You know, uh, going out on the water isn't something that's supposed to be dangerous, but it's just like driving down the road. There will always be danger. So we want to put ourselves in the best possible position to be safe, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah. It, uh, I'm thinking back. This is, I don't know how many years ago, but I was in the Bryce's Creek area, and some young, young adults are having a good time, and I don't know if they were speeding, but I was on one of those back when Merchants Grocery had those metal, the tippy canoes.
Yeah.
Very, very tippy. And I didn't, we didn't have life jackets, and um, but just a wake from one of those boats can just flip you over, and if you're not able to swim, or say you get caught, your foot gets caught on underneath the tree or something, you're in big trouble. So that, and I guess that's probably one reason why it's so important to wear, a life jacket. So,
Yes,
um,
ma'am, for sure, for sure. And that, it goes to both parties. It just in that certain circumstance you gave me there, we've got to respect each other on the waterways. Um, if we're in a narrow channel, someone's got a boat that's a little bit slower than ours. Should we really try to pass them? Just different considerations. How would we feel if we were in the other position? Just be respectful to everyone else on the waterways, all the way from someone that is their first time on the boat to a seasoned waterman. We've all got to be respectful and watch out for one another.
there you go. I agree. And okay, so is there are there any rules, regulations that you want to discuss as far as age limits or boating safety classes?
Yes, ma'am, absolutely. And Miss Wendy, I'm glad you brought that up. So here at the North Carolina Wildlife Resources Commission, we offer boating safety classes for free, completely and entirely free. It's a 6 hour class. I encourage everyone to come and take it. They're being taught in every county throughout the state right now. Um, to find out more about them, you can go to ncwildlife.org. Click on the boating tab. There'll be a section that comes up about education. Click on the instructor leg courses tab, and you'll put your zip code in, and it'll show you all the upcoming classes within the mileage limits you set. Um, Throughout North Carolina right now, these boating education classes are being taught. Like I said, if they're instructed by us at the Wildlife Commission, that is completely free. Um, you can learn a lot, again, just like we talked about, from someone that's brand new on the water to a seasoned waterman. You never know, what you might learn. So I would encourage everyone, be it you're on a kayak or a, you know, 40-foot center console, I'd encourage everyone to come take these classes. Speaking about age limits, well, first, for the boating safety class, there is no age limit. Um, Normally, I try to get people to wait till kids are around 11, 12, 13, so they can kind of understand the gravity. Um, but there's no age limit on the boating safety classes. I know we were just speaking about life jackets. So anyone that is under the age of 13 is required by law to wear a life jacket at any point a vessel is underway. So pretty much, unless a vessel is anchored, uh, made it fast ashore, it's underway. It could be just floating. That's considered underway. Um, that's something that's very important. A juvenile, a lot of times, may not have the ability to swim like someone who's a little bit older. Different things like that. A lot of times you'll see even infants without a life jacket on. And clearly, that infant will likely not know how to swim. But it's very important that we do put these kids in a Coast Guard approved life jacket flotation device. Again, that is anyone who is under the age of 13.
Okay, what else? Um, I a lot of people ask me because I spend a lot of time in the Croatan, but
Mhm.
they ask about alligators, alligator sightings, and there's a lot of curiosity. And you know, it's very rare to see an actual alligator, and to be able to take your phone out and take a picture of one is like almost impossible
Oh, absolutely.
because they're so you know they they they're not they're elusive. And do you can you ease people's fears about coexisting with alligators, and how often are they sightings, or is there anything that, say I'm on a stand-up paddleboard, should I be concerned? Are they going to come and launch at me, stuff like that?
No, so the aggressive behaviors from an alligator is a lot. It's somewhat of a aggressive behavior by a bear. It's a very uncommon thing. Like you said, alligators are elusive. They prefer not to mess with us, just like we not with them. If you do see an alligator, that is absolutely awesome. Take a picture of him. Enjoy that. Um, not everyone in North Carolina has the ability to enjoy watching those animals like we do here in Eastern North Carolina. Um, as far as coexisting with alligators, we can almost take a look at Lake Waccamaw um, down in Columbus County, further towards South Carolina. There have always been a copious amount of alligators there. You can ride around the banks of Lake Waccamaw and see dozens laid up in someone's yard. Um, you know, looking at that much higher of a number of alligators present and that many people in the water, there still aren't these alligator attacks. So they don't necessarily have it in their nature to be aggressive towards humans. Um, but at the same time, we've also got to respect their boundaries as well. Um, One of the biggest things people can do to prevent these alligator attacks is simply not feeding them. Once someone begins to feed an alligator, a piece of chicken or whatever, they kind of lose their fear of humans. And that fear, a lot of times, is what keeps us safe. But if they feel safe to come up to you and associate you with food, we begin to have some issues then. And that's why feeding alligators is illegal in North Carolina as well.
Yes, yeah. And it's also illegal to hunt them, right? I mean,
Yeah. Yes,
why
ma'am.
don't is I know there was talk about like using an arrow like a while back. Did that ever pass?
No, ma'am. There is no statewide alligator season in North Carolina. There was briefly a very short county by county season. I believe there was only one county being Hyde that requested and allowed the take of alligators, and even with that, I believe it was less than a dozen alligators which were taken. Um, they're still, while we might see them a lot, whatever, they're still a species of special concern. They are not as vast here in North Carolina as somewhere like Florida, South Carolina, different places like that. Um, so the population now would not necessarily be able to sustain a hunting season for them. So there is no statewide season for the take of alligators.
Okay, so if somebody was concerned about any wildlife, they'd obviously they'd contact you or the NC Wildlife Commission.
Yes,
Um,
ma'am. They can contact the NC Wild Tip. That is, excuse me, not Wild Tip, but they can contact the Wildlife Commission. We've got a specific number just to speak with people about how to handle these interactions with wildlife, and I will pull that number up right now for you, Miss Wendy.
Now, if somebody's watching right now and you have any questions for Officer Biggerstaff, feel free to comment.
Absolutely. And Miss Wendy, that number for the North Carolina Wildlife Helpline, and for anyone else that's watching or may want to know, the number you can contact is 866 318 2401. Again, that's 866 318 2401. That's the NC Wildlife Helpline.
And that's the, yes, and they will reach out to the different local agencies. And I shouldn't have said contact you because you're busy. You're in the law enforcement division.
Yes, ma'am.
Officer Master Officer Ryan Biggerstaff is a law enforcement officer, and although you work with the North Carolina Wildlife Resources Commission, you are safeguarding our waterways and our land on a daily basis.
Yes,
And
ma'am. Thank you. Yeah, so the Wildlife Commission, we're broken down into different divisions: land and water access, the biologists, different things like that. We've got all these different divisions. But our division, the law enforcement division's the biggest one. Um, you know, nobody else in the state of North Carolina really does what we do. You may have some sheriff's offices or whatever that have, they may have boats, or they may have officers that work somewhat similar to us, but hunting, fishing, boating, and trapping, that's our bread and butter. That's what we're here for. That's what we're here to do. We are law enforcement. We are state level law enforcement, so we do enforce criminal matters in our presence. A lot of times there'll be bigger scenarios that we just have to help with. It is what it is. That's part of being law enforcement. The manhunt down in Duplin County recently, we had officers there at that. Bunch of different things like that. But yes, ma'am, you are correct. My main position with the Wildlife Commission is law enforcement.
right. But when I've encountered law enforcement or the officers in the say in the forest, or actually at the different boat ramps, because you manage all the different areas under North Carolina Wildlife. Where was I going with this? Oh, it's say somebody's doing a license check because something seems suspicious. I've always, if I don't have my license on me, they'll, always be gracious and um, if there's they'll give you a warning. You all like to, like in my experience, working with you has always been more of you just want to make sure things are everyone's following the rules. So
That's right. Absolutely. We're blessed in a certain aspect of, just because someone sees us doesn't necessarily mean that anyone's in trouble. And just because anyone sees any type of law enforcement doesn't necessarily mean someone's in trouble. But a lot of times we'll just do a compliance check. Hey, Miss Wendy, how you doing today? You catch any fish? Oh yeah, da 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 da. Socialize. Hey, you got your license with you? Cool deal. Hey, look, have a good day. A lot of times that's what our job is. We're blessed in that, a lot of people that hunt, fish, boat, and trap are good people. Even if someone's made a bad decision and does have to receive a citation, a lot of times you'll find that they are, a good person that just made a mistake, and that's the downside of it. Not to say that you don't have your serial poachers, your serial, uh, different things like that. But like I said, a lot of times we're interacting with good people.
mhm. Yeah, we all make mistakes. Hopefully, it won't end up in a serious issue. But
That's right.
yeah, I've just learned so much through the wildlife, NC Wildlife, and like people like you. And I
Well,
thank
thank
you so
you.
much for your time. But let's just drive this point home on the road, on the water. Don't drink and drive.
Yes,
Now
ma'am.
that's
So
yeah.
last year in 2022, there were 148 reported boating incidents in North Carolina. Of those 148, 20 individuals lost their lives. Of those deaths, there were 16 that were not wearing a life jacket. So wear your life jacket, don't drink and drive, and have a good time.
There you go. You can't go wrong there, right?
That's right. Hey,
And maybe they'll see you or your team out there, and
that's right. Maybe wave and say hello.
there you go. And so, is there anything we left out, or?
No, ma'am, I don't believe so, Miss Wendy. And again, thank you very much for having me. Any other questions, anything like that you may have, feel free to contact me anytime. Um, to reach me by phone, my number is 252-904-2990. My email is all lowercase Ryan, RYAN, dot Biggerstaff, BIGGERSTAFF, at ncwildlife.org. Any questions, comments, concerns, feel free to reach out to me. And if I can't help you, I can get you in touch with somebody that can.
All right. Well, thank you so much. And I hope you have a great weekend. And thanks for joining us. And
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for having me, Miss Wendy. Y'all have a good day.
yeah, you too. Take care.
Yes,
Bye
ma'am.
bye.